and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Yes, the weekend is over. It is a sad thing because what a weekend it was. But hey, you have another running point at you from 12 to 2. That's something to be excited about. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartel. We are brought to you by our friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We thank our wonderful sponsors, and we want to take this time to remind everyone tuning in right now that you can comment on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch and be in the Boardman Mitsubishi comment section. We would love to hear from you. You can also call in 330-886-0813. We have a good show for you on Monday because, Ty, we got brackets on brackets on brackets, and we said last week when the brackets are out, we will have shows dedicated to breaking down these tournaments. And we got soccer and volleyball brackets set. Tournaments start next week, and we're going to start gearing up for the tournament time. We'll release the brackets today and go through who is playing where in volleyball and soccer. We'll also recap all the weekend's action. And we're talking to Dana Ballish at 1 o'clock, as always, on Mondays. So, Ty, before we dive into these brackets and talk about tournaments, what was kind of your takeaway from a very interesting Week 8 and a lot of close finishes?
Yeah, there was a lot of close finishes, a lot of movement, too, and multiple divisions. We saw both Fitch moving back up into the top 8 at number 8, so now in position to host a playoff game. So that's one of the schools that we talked about in Division 2. Boardman still standing at 12, and it would be an 8-9 matchup, though, with Fitch with Warren Harding, because Harding has also moved into the 9 spot since that. Over in Division 3, we see Hubbard and Canfield still ranked at 5 and 6, respectively. The win, though, for Niles has moved them up 1 spot to 16. So Niles has now been in playoff position in Division 3 after the win against Struthers. Also, too, in Division 3, we see Cheney's win over Howland has now jumped them over them into the 18th spot. So Cheney really getting close now, 5.4. And then Niles at 6.7 in the wins, but Cheney gained a decent chunk in that. So Cheney now in position to grab a playoff spot. They kind of control their own destiny the next couple of weeks. Big matchup, though, this week, I believe, against the Raiders of Warren Harding. D4, a lot of movement around the bottom part of D4, not so much towards the top. Still West Branch Ursuline. But we saw Salem now drop down to 7. Girard is now at 13. Beaver Local stayed at 9. And Struthers has dropped out of the playoffs for the time being. They are 8.
You knew that loss would hurt them.
Yeah, and we said that could be one of those losses that might drop them out. Struthers, though, still in a position to where they can make up the ground, still only less than a point away from Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, which is at 16. Chagrin Falls at 17. So Struthers with a win the next 2 weeks, which they've already faced a good meat of the schedule. I mean, they got 2 teams that are going to be right around where they are. And it's going to be competitive games the next couple of weeks. And like we said, it's teams fighting for their playoff life.
So Ursuline loses again, but they stay at number 2.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just because of Ursuline's schedule that they've been able to put up as – actually, hold on 1 second. Let me actually update this one. As this one – well, the status might be incomplete too. But actually looking at it, yeah, Villa Angela St. Joseph actually came really close to coming over top of Ursuline. So I mean it's a
You
case.
beat 'em, what do they have to do, right?
Yeah,
If you're
yeah, that's what you would think too.
sitting-
But
if you're sitting in Villa Anna, you're like, we just what? But hey,
yeah,
good for us, good for the YSN school in Ursuline. But if you're in Villa Anna, you're gonna be sitting there like, huh?
yeah, you wonder what's going on here. But I mean there was a lot of movement too, and I mean those four divisions, of course, we go down to Division 5, 6, and 7, and of course there's a lot of movement there as well. But Kirtland South Range still sit 1 and 2 in D5. The big
Kirtland laid a beat down to I believe a Division 2 team.
yeah,
Lakeside.
I
Oh,
believe so. Yeah.
mm, mm.
And I mean, there's a little bit of ground. I mean, 4 points in the current average that Kirtland leads South Range in. So I mean, a pretty hefty lead, but not something that's insurmountable. You would obviously need some sort of a loss or something to go right for you if you are South Range. However, we have seen things happen late in the year, so it could definitely happen. Liberty, of course, in Division 5-2 with that big win we said, is now ranked 14. So getting in there too. Crestview being 12, Edison 11 now after their respective weeks. Garfield, the big one too, ranked number 4. So that's going to be a fun one as it comes down to it, I think.
Still chasing Garaway for that 3 spot, right?
Yeah. Yep. And Jefferson now too, ranked number 17 after the loss, can still make the playoffs at that 16 spot. But after the first 3 weeks of the season looking really good, Jefferson now going through a little bit of a rough patch after meeting the NE8.
Yeah, and the NE8's tough, and they've been kind of hitting a brick wall. But other than the South Range and Hubbard games, they've been really competitive. Unfortunately, unable to make those game-winning plays down the stretch.
It's definitely a program that's trending in the right direction, though, and what we're seeing from Jefferson is definitely one where they are way more competitive than I think a lot of people kind of expected them to be this season. And you know what? Credit to what they've been able to do. They've looked really good this entire this season, and their record doesn't speak entirely for how good they are actually playing right now.
Well, you just have to watch that South Range game. They matched South Range in the scores the first couple of 14-14, and then all of a sudden, all it takes when you're playing South Range is 1 or 2 mistakes, and they'll just make you pay for them. Turnover, punt return for a touchdown. South Range kind of put the game away, unfortunately. But they're right there. I mean, they proved that their offense could move the ball against really good defense.
They looked good. I mean, like we said, you have to play a perfect game against South Range to beat them. And they were playing pretty darn good for a little bit there, going pretty much punch for punch with the Raiders. And I mean, they did look good for a little bit there. And you know what? There are a few pieces, I think, away, but I think this is a program that is definitely trending in the right direction.
By the way, did you see that punt return from Shane Lindstrom?
I did. I saw it posted.
If you haven't, it's on our social media accounts, our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter. Go check it out because it's something. It's right out of Madden. He caught it in the sideline, so he didn't have a lot of room, runs down the sideline, he spins out of one tackle, he hurdles the guy, and then runs for a touchdown. It was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely incredible. As we move on, though, to Division 6 real quick, and of course, a lot of movement going on in Division 6 because we had a lot of teams playing each other and a lot of teams playing outside schools. So a lot of wins, a lot of losses, moved a lot of things in Division 6. Big thing now, Springfield sitting atop at number 1 now in Division 6 now. So they are kings of their region. As we see, Columbia has been ranked number 2. So a 1-loss Springfield ranked over 8-0 Columbia team now. That's a big one, I think, too, that Springfield with the strength of schedule too, and knowing that your 1 loss is to a South Range team. Granted, you don't look at strength of schedule, but the points that they've picked up is playing up a lot of divisions this year.
I think the one win that kind of boosts them is that Geneva win because everything else is either 5 or 6. I don't think they really go too much higher on their schedule. But that Geneva win in Division 3 probably boosted them enough to keep that 1 seed.
Well, yeah, that was big. And then you got to also remember Waterloo also being a Division 5 team this year as well. So playing Waterloo, beating Waterloo, that was a big one as well for Springfield. So playing up a division there as well, they picked up some points in there as well. Also in Division 6, LeBray, now sole owners of the 3 spot after a huge win over Brookfield. The loss for Brookfield has dropped them down to 6. As we also see around Division 6 YSN schools, Western Reserve now is ranked 11, United is 12, and then Mineral Ridge, after that big win now, is ranked 16 in Division 6. So it would set up a Rams versus Springfield Tigers first round matchup, and it would be Bunch versus Brungard.
A rematch.
Yeah. And I mean, it might be one where, it's tough to beat an opponent a second time, too. And we might see a lot of those YSN schools go up against each other in the playoffs, especially Division 6, where there's a lot of teams, too. Newton Falls still just on the outside, ranked 18. So there's a lot of teams that are in the YSN conversation that are in D6. And then just sliding over for our final division of representation, Division 7. We look at what's kind of moved, not a whole lot. John F. Kennedy, JFK, Warren JFK is at 7 still. So still a home team, but it looks like they might have dropped a little bit, I think, from 6 to 7 now, as now Cuyahoga Heights ranked above them computer points wise. So Cuyahoga Heights, of course, let's look at what they did this week, beating a Division 4 opponent. Or no, losing to a Division 4 opponent, beating a Division 5 opponent last week, though. Being that was Brooklyn, not the one in New York, obviously.
In New York last week, someone went all the way to France, and now we're going to New York.
We have also Division 7, number 8, Lowville is ranked. Number 10 still is Valley Christian, so they didn't really move too much after the loss against Southern. Also, we look down a little bit more. Wyndham is at 12. And then we look down a little bit more, and just out of the playoff picture right now, both Wellsville, that's just on the outside looking in at number 17, and McDonald, that has a little bit of work to do, but can still definitely sneak in if they have a good couple of weeks here, sitting at number 19 right now. Lisbon has moved up into a conversation spot now at number 22. But definitely Lisbon, another one of those teams that needs some stuff to go right for them to obviously, I think, make that run. Southern, too, I know not technically our YSN school, but in a conference that, we cover a lot, too, so it's big to keep an eye on them, too. Southern has ranked number 5 now after the win against Valley Christian.
That was a statement win, by the way. I mean, I think Southern was kind of tired of hearing about these teams that were up and coming in the EOAC. They've been there for a couple of years. They were just like, stop. You know what I mean?
Well,
that game was just like a put your foot in the ground and kind of send that statement that we're still top dog.
Valley Christian, you know what? I give them credit, too, because they started putting up a fight towards the end. You look at all the interceptions thrown, and I feel like if you replayed that game right now, I think Valley Christian plays a completely different game, and I think they play a lot better. This is the first time Valley Christian has been competitive in the last few seasons, and like being at the top of the EOAC, you could chalk it up to nerves. You could also just chalk it up to a bad game. There were some early turnovers that are really hard to dig yourself out of. That happens to every team. And like I said, I think if Valley Christian had that game over, you'd see a different team. But hey, Valley Christian's still in the running for playoffs, and I think they could still make a decent run as well. So, hey, you got another 2 weeks to focus up, get some wins, put yourself in a better position, and keep moving forward.
Let's talk real quick about your game at Fitch, because what a wild finish that was. Fitch still looked like they were lost for about 3 quarters and then found themselves again in the fourth quarter. What a fourth quarter it was. Do you think that fourth quarter is like the wake-up call or the smelling salt of this football team? Because for a while and for the first 3 quarters of that game, they still looked kind of lackadaisical a little bit. And then all of a sudden, they were put on the mat, and they got back up. and they shook it off, and they had a great fourth quarter. They got that big win over Wadsworth. Do you think that was what they need, or do you think they still have a lot of work to do going forward?
There's always going to be work to do going forward, and I think with Division Two, with all the opponents and all the powerhouses, Benedictine has a squad this year. So there's some big teams too. Of course, we know Hoban is always one of those ones that are in the conversation, but actually, I don't think Hoban actually is ranked super high. Looking at the rankings, but the win for Fitch, I think, was big because this was a Wadsworth team, might be 2-6. They had a big win over Stowe Monroe Falls though last week, and that Stowe team is a very good football team too. And Wadsworth played some very good football against the Falcons. I mean, you looked at Luke Fisher. I mean, passing was fantastic for those first 3 quarters. Was really getting the job done and really not making any errors. Actually, looking at it too, I want to correct myself. Akron ranked number 3 too in Division 2, as we know Region 5 always has these tough opponents. But the win against Wadsworth for the Falcons was huge. And you know what? The defense, I think you saw starting to figure things out, was actually the biggest thing. And Cam Smith had that fantastic catch, did the fantastic vertical catch, brought it down. But Devin Sherwood, he said in that moment, if there's a will, there's a way, and he brought that team a victory, at one point being down 10, knowing that if they score again, it's going to make it almost detrimental to try to come back on. But taking them right down the field, scoring. Defense came up big in the fourth quarter, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
3. Huge.
That pick 6 was big.
Oh, absolutely. The pick 6 was the one that after Fitch takes that lead, the pick 6 flips it right on its head, and now Fitch goes from trailing by 10 to up by 10 in a span of just a few minutes game time, and that flipped the whole thing, flipped momentum in the stadium. The Falcon faithful were loud and romping the rest of the way, and the defense held and locked it down with 2 other picks, and just seemed like they figured it out. And it might have taken some time because Luke Fisher was passing very good and had still a great game. Did Wadsworth, give all the credit where it's due, but the Falcons and Coach Parker found something out at some point during either halftime or maybe during the game time in that third quarter. They started dropping some guys back and just filling up those passing lanes that he was going to. Fisher was a lot going to that seam route over the middle a lot, and it looked like when he was just trying to go there that time in the fourth quarter, it was all covered up, and the Falcons took advantage of it.
Salem was on the other end of an exciting fourth quarter. Unfortunately, they were unable to get that game-tying 2-point conversion. They had a great play to get them the touchdown to give them the opportunity. Fourth and forever heaved into the end zone. They got caught, much like the Fitch catch. It was just a jump ball. Kid went up and caught it. And then you feel for Blaze Exline because he's made every play for this team all year, and he just couldn't make that one. And what I liked about it was as soon as he dropped it, the first person to go up to him was Jackson Johnson. Ran up to him immediately in the end zone. Don't know exactly what he said, but I imagine it's something to the point of, you've made plays all year, you'll continue to make plays, we're fine, let's get back up and keep going.
And this is still a Salem team, still going to be hosting a playoff game as we speak, still ranked 7. They've beaten a fair share of good football teams, and you know what? It's not a case now.
Let's not forget that Carrollton had something to prove because they got beat up last week against West Branch. I mean, they needed to come back and put a win on the board. They did. They had some fly pink jerseys that when I first brought up the broadcast, I was like, okay, Salem has the ball because it looked like they were in red, and I knew Carrollton wasn't a red color scheme, and they were like, no, Salem's in white. Oh, Carrollton's in pink. Gotcha. It was cool.
Yeah. As Salem, they're going through a little bit of a rough patch, but it's, hey, you'd rather try to figure out some kinks in your armor now than figuring it out during the playoffs. And like I said, this is going to be a case where I think you make Salem stronger and still hosting a playoff spot. So that's going to be huge, still number 7. And now it sets up, I feel like, an even more dangerous Week 10 matchup, because if everything goes well for West Branch, they're going to go into that 1-9-0. And what's worse than facing a 9-0 Salem team, I think, is facing a Salem team that's still a very good competitive team, but a team that has nothing to lose now. They're playing for a win, they're playing for a spot in the playoffs, but if they don't care about that title being on the line, the division title being on the line. So they're just coming to upset West Branch, and that's their goal. And it's going to be a fun game. And I think anytime you put those two schools together, Salem, West Branch, it always makes for an interesting game.
It's going to be a fun week 10. They have to get through week 9 first. So do we. I mean, there's a week 9 to talk about. Well, we'll dive into that as the week goes on and the week 9 matchups, of course. But I want to remind everybody that all the recaps and the fun stories and the scores from the action can be found not just on our website, ysnlive.com, but you can also follow us on all the social medias. We have great final score graphics that go up every Friday night. So if you just want the scores and you don't care about how the game went, you just want your final scores, you can follow us on socials for that. So no one can say that they're the only place that has the scores, because we got that too. So we're rocking. Follow us on socials and make sure to stay up to date on all the happenings of the weekend. Ty, it's time to talk about tournament volleyball and tournament soccer, because we'll get to volleyball first and then we'll go to the soccer brackets. I want to start with just the seeds. As we go to D1, we have 4 teams in Division 1. So I'm not going to go through all the seeds because, in fact, there are 37 Division 1 teams in the East seeding. So I'm not going to go through them all since we only have 4. I'll just kind of go through a couple of them that people should keep an eye on. Massillon Jackson is the 1 seed. They were, I believe, the 2 or 3 seed last year. Chardon is the 2. Fitch got the 4. Fitch is the 4 seed. They are the highest seeded team in Division 1 for the YSN coverage area. They are 15-2 on the year. To contrast that, the 3 seed above them, Nordonia, is 13-5. Chardon is 17-1, and Massillon Jackson is 14-4. You go through the rest of the coverage merit. Canfield got the 9 seed. They are 12-7. They are right behind Perry, who is 11-6, and they are right below Mayfield, who is 11-6 as well. You go through down the list a little bit. Boardman has had a tough season. They're starting to put it together. You saw them take a set from Fitch, which shows you how deep this Division 1 volleyball bracket really can be. Boardman is the 30 seed down there, and they are 5-12 as of now. So 5-12 is Boardman. So you look at that. I mean, Division 1 is so deep. So deep. I mean, I would say, and I said this last year, and it's the same there. There's like the 1 through 4 seeds that are like up here. 5 through maybe 12 is like here. And then like 12 through I mean, Boardman's a good volleyball team. They can took a set from Fitch. So 12 from 30 is like right there. It's really good volleyball. It's going to be really tough to get through. You can't sleep on anybody because everybody's schedule is ridiculously hard, and it's going to be a fun volleyball matchup when you talk about Division 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the Falcons being the one headliner for Division 1, ranked number 4, getting a chance to see a fair share of Fitch playing this season. I've also gotten my chance to see both Canfield and Boardman as well. And both are very solid programs. So is that Howland team too.
I apologize. Yeah, I said this off the air, and I did it. I did it. I forgot that Howland is a 1 seed in volleyball. They are the 21st seed. Howland, of course, a 2-seeded D2 team in basketball, so I was not expecting them to be D1 in volleyball, but it's different arrangements for every sport because there are more teams in each sport. So they are the 21 seed in Division 1 for volleyball. Yeah. Let's look at these brackets, and we'll break it down. There are 2 brackets to look at for when you're talking about the districts in our coverage map. Northeast 1, these district championships and semifinals will be held at Stowe High School, and this is where we find Boardman. They are at the bottom half of this bracket, I believe, and they will play Walsh Jesuit in the first round, and that game will be on October 19th at 4:30 at Walsh Jesuit High School. So that's where Boardman looks at. Actually, the OHSA site has it set in Nordonia. So Boardman and Walsh Jesuit going to be playing at Nordonia on October 19th at 4:30 in the first round of the playoffs. You go to the other bracket, which is where you find the other three teams in Division 1 that we cover, which is Northeast 2, the Solon District, Austintown Fitch. They are the 4 seed. They have a first round bye. They will play the winner of Eastlake North and Massillon, Washington. That game will be on October 23rd at 4:30, and the location is going to be at Fitch. So Fitch gets a home game as the 4 seed. They will play at 4:30, and that will be the matchup with Eastlake North and Massillon, Washington. That game happens on the 20th at 7:30. Fitch will play the winner of that. Canfield also has a bye. They are the 9 seed again. They will play October 23rd at 3 o'clock. They will play the winner of Aurora versus Canton McKinley. Aurora is the 6 seed. Canton McKinley is the 35. So if chalk goes up, you would expect Aurora to advance. But like I said, D1 is so deep, you just never know. If Aurora wins, that game will be in Aurora because of the higher seed. If they get upset by Canton McKinley, it will be at Canfield as the higher seed. So that state site is to be determined. You look at Howland as the last team to talk about. They are the 21 seed, as I said before. They will play on October 19th in a sectional semifinal against Brush. And that game, looking for the site, that will be held at Glen Oak High School on the 19th at 6 o'clock. Howland versus Brush. And the winner will go on to play at Chardon on October 21st at 6 o'clock. So this isn't like last year where every team, because of COVID last year, every team higher seed hosted no matter what. So every team got a home game. There are certain set locations this year, a little bit back to normal for the volleyball brackets. So to just recap D1 real quick, Fitch will play the winner of Eastlake North versus Massillon, Washington on the 23rd at 4:30 at home. Canfield will play the winner of Aurora, Canton McKinley. That site is to be determined. That'll be October 23rd at 3. Boardman is going to play Walsh Jesuit at Nordonia High School on the 19th at 7:30, and Howland will play Brush at the 19th at Glen Oak High School, and that game will be at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, just good to see some of the matchups as we look forward to volleyball tournament time starting.
So let's venture into D2. We have a lot more D2 teams in the coverage area. 11 Division II teams in this seeding, and it starts with Girard. They got the 2 seed. And since we do have 11, I'll just go through the entire seeding of Division II. Notre Dame Cathedral Latin gets the 1 seed. They finished the season at 11-5. Shows you how much respect the coaches put on in DCL in the schedule they put together. Lake Catholic is the 3 seed. They are 14-4. Kenston is the 4 seed. They are 16-4. Marlington got the 5 seed. They are 13-3. Lakeview is 6. They are 15-3 right now. West Branch right behind them at 7, 15-2. Massillon Perry, they are the 8th seed, 13-5 on the year so far. Jefferson Area is the 9 seed, 11-5. Salem got the 10 seed. They are 11-5 as well. West Geauga got the 11 seed, 11-4 on the year. Hawken got the 11-4 record, and that got them the 12 seed. Streetsboro at 13, they are 9-4. Geneva at 14, they are 9-9. Hubbard is the 15 seed, they are 9-7. JFK, that's Cleveland JFK, not Warren JFK. They are right behind Hubbard at 16. Edgewood is 17. Canton South 18. Poland, they are 7-12. They are 19. Niles is 6-9. They are sitting at 20. Struthers is 22. Right in between them is Field at 21. East is 23. Cleveland Central Catholic 24. Cheney 25. Southeast 26. Ravenna 27. And Harvey is 28. So the highest seed we have in Division 2 is Girard at the 2 seed, and Lakeview and West Branch are the next highest at 6 and 7. You'll look at the brackets for Division 2, and we will start with the Northeast 1 bracket. This one will be held in Alliance when you get to the districts. And in the first round, we'll have Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. They'll have a bye week, and as the 3 seed on the other end of it, you will see East will play Marlington. That's one of our schools. Niles will play Edgewood. That's on the 20th at 4:30, and that will be held. Waiting for the site to pop up. That will be held at Marlington. So those 2 games happening at Marlington on the 20th at 4:30 and 6. You look at West Branch. They are playing Southeast at 7:30, and I believe that game will be at West Branch. It will. So West Branch has a home game against Southeast. Southeast is I believe they're the 10 seed. No, 26 seed. Sorry, I saw that wrong. Salem right below them is the 10 seed. So that'll be the 19th at 7:30 at West Branch. Salem will play Struthers, on the 19th at 6. Salem and Struthers at 6. And Mogdor Field will play Canton South. That site has a TBA, so they haven't decided where that site will be. You would think it'd be Salem because they're the highest seed in those 4 teams that are bracketed together, but you never know. So that's where that is set in Division 2. We go to the next bracket, which is the Northeast 2 bracket, which a lot more of our teams are in. This one will be held at Jefferson when you get to the district semifinals and finals. Girard, they are down at the bottom of the bracket. They will play a first-round matchup on the 20th against Youngstown, Cheney, and Girard. Poland will play Geneva on the 20th at 6 o'clock. That game will be held at Girard as well. So Girard hosting the sectional semifinals with Poland and Girard both playing there at 6 and 7:30 respectively. Jefferson will be playing Cleveland JFK on the 20th at 4:30. That game will also be at Girard. So 3 games at Girard, 4:30, 6, 7:30. If you're a volleyball fan, hit Girard High School on the 20th.
There's a lot of good sites that are having a lot of great matchups like that. So just stay tuned to that. You could get a whole night of volleyball as it's starting to get back to a little bit of normalcy now.
It is. I kind of like it because as a fan, you can go get a whole day of volleyball and not miss, not have to pick and choose where you're going to go. But I also understand that it's also, there are pros and cons for each way of doing it. Because obviously teams don't get a home game anymore unnecessarily. And, to each its own. Hubbard is once again, the 15 seed. They will play West Geauga, the 11 seed, on the 19th at 7:30. That game will be at Perry in Massillon. I'm sorry, that'll be in Perry, Ohio, like the Perry Pirates, not the Perry Panthers in Massillon. That Perry is D1. So do not get those two confused. There are 2 different Perrys, and that one is actually in Perry, Ohio. And Perry will play Painesville Harvey at 6. So that's the other game at Perry. How many times can I say Perry in a broadcast? And of course, Notre Dame Cathedral Latin is on that one top side of the bracket. Lakeview, they are having the first round bye. They will play on the 23rd at 6 versus the winner of Cleveland, JFK, and Jefferson. That site is to be determined. So I believe that does it for Division 2. To wrap things up, Girard will play Cheney on the 20th at 7:30. Lakeview plays Jefferson or Cleveland JFK on the 23rd. West Branch will play Southeast at 7:30 at on the 19th. Jefferson, Cleveland, JFK on the 20th. Hubbard versus West Geauga, 19th at 7:30. Poland versus Geneva on the 20th at 6. That is at Girard. Niles at Edgewood on the 20th at 4:30. Struthers will be versing Salem on the 19th at 6. East will be at Marlington on the 20th at 7. At 6, the 20th at 6. Cheney will once again be playing Girard at 7:30. And Salem will once again be playing Struthers on the 19th at 6:30. 6 o'clock, sorry. So, lot to talk about. Lot of Division II matchups in these brackets. But just Northeast 1 and Northeast 2 for our area. Let's look at the seeding in Division 3. And there is no shocker that Crestview gets the 1 seed in this district. They are undefeated at 20-0 on the year right now. They are the 1. Kirtland is the 2. Cardinal is the 3. Garfield the 4. Lake Center Christian is the 5. Rootstown the 6. LaBrea the 7. Berkshire the 8. Liberty the 9. Pimenton Valley the 10. Ursuline 11. East Palestine 12. Conneaut 13. South Range 14. Cardinal Mooney is 15. Crestwood is 16. Osborne Academy is 17. Camel Memorial is 18. United 19. Grand Valley 20. Champion 21. East Canton 22. And Waterloo 23. No surprises there.
No, I mean, Crestview already been dominant the whole season. It's going to be tough for anyone to knock them off, but there's a lot of great teams down there in Division 3, so it's gonna be a fun matchups for volleyball.
So you'll look at these brackets, and we'll start with Northeast 1, which will be held in Medina as the district championships and the semifinals. You'll look at Camel Memorial will play on the 19th at 6 o'clock against United. Kirtland has the bye. They are the 2 seeds, so that'll be who Camel versus United will play in the second round. This one could be interesting. LaBrea, the 7 seed, hosts South Range, the 14 seed, on the October 19th at 7:30. That game will be held at LaBrea. And South Range, the 14 seed, because of their record a little bit, but also remember, South Range plays that 98. They play, Girard twice, Lakeview twice, Hubbard, Poland. A lot of these teams that we talked about in Division 2. Very tough schedule for South Range, so they could be primed for an upset of the 7th seed at LaBrea.
Yeah, and I mean, there's all kinds of upsets alerts when you look at some of these matchups too. And I mean, that's the most exciting part is those middle tiers going up against each other because really anything can happen.
3 teams in Division 3 that play pretty tough schedules that are 10 or below. Ursuline is 10, Mooney is 15, South Range 14. Don't sleep on those teams because they play very hard schedules that go up a division. So they'll be ready for Division 3. You look at Garfield, they are the 4 seed. They will play on the 20th against Champion. And that game will be at Garfield. So Garfield got the 4 seed. And reminders that Crestview swept the season series against them. 2 sweeps. So you look at Crestview and you're saying, man, the 4 seed we kind of took care of. The 1 and 2, the 2 and 1, the 2 and 3, I'm sorry. Kirtland and Cardinal we haven't seen yet, but Crestview has to be feeling pretty good about themselves a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's part of why you schedule up and play these tough opponents too. It's playing these tough opponents throughout the season. I mean, we see too, like NDCL getting the respect from the coaches. When you schedule up, and even with some losses, you could get respect and put into some good seating situations. Other situations, maybe not so much, but I mean, very important, I think, scheduling up during the season, because if you're all making the playoffs anyway, might as well be as ready as possible.
Cardinal Mooney will play the winner of that Garfield Champion game, site to be determined on the 23rd at 7:30. So let's go to the other Division 3 bracket to get the rest of our coverage map. This is Northeast 2, And the district semis and finals will be held at Grand Valley. You look at the starting and Crestview, the 1 seed, of course. They will open the tournament against Waterloo, the 23rd seed, and that'll be on the 19th at 6 o'clock.
That should be a good match too. I mean, when you see what Waterloo's been able to do, their athletics have some really good up and coming young programs.
Liberty, the 9 seed, will be hosting Conneaut, the 13 seed. Could be a very interesting 9 versus 13. That'll be the 20th at 7:30. That game will be held at Liberty on the 20th. So keep an eye on that one. The winner will go on for a matchup against Ursuline, who is the 11 seed. So if Liberty were able to win, you would imagine that game will be at Liberty as well. And that could be a pretty impressive matchup. 9 versus 13 and then 9 versus 11 if chalk plays out.
Yeah, and I mean we'll have to see how these tournaments turn out, because I feel like you're going to see actually a lot of upsets in all kinds of divisions.
Yeah, and then East Palestine is the 12th seed. They have a bye to the second round. They will play Pimenton Valley. That site is TBA. And East Canton will have the bye week as well. Crestview will, if they win, will play East Canton. Winner of Crestview Waterloo will play East Canton. Now that's TBA because, of course, if Crestview wins, that sectional final between Crestview, East Canton, and Pimenton Valley and East Palestine will be held at Crestview if Crestview wins. If Crestview gets upset by Waterloo, which I'm sorry, I doubt. I don't see Crestview getting beat. But if that were to happen, those games would be held at Pimenton Valley as the next highest seed in that sectional final.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of interesting to see too. You don't know where you're going to play. So for those lower seeds, it just matters about going up, showing up, and doing your job.
Yeah, and 12 versus 10, that's going to be an interesting matchup in the sectional final between East Palestine and Pimenton Valley, wherever it may be.
Yeah, that should be a very fun matchup too, and exciting to look forward to for some of these matchups already that are set forth in the brackets.
So that will do it for Division 3, the matchups. We'll go through them real quick for you here. Crestview once again will play Waterloo at 6 on the 19th. Garfield will play Champion on the 20th at 7:30. LeBray will play South Range on the 19th at 7:30. Liberty will play Conneaut on the 20th at 7:30. Ursuline will play the winner of Liberty Conneaut on the 23rd at 7:30. East Palestine versus Pimenton Valley set for the 21st at 7:30. And then Mooney will play the winner of Garfield Champion the 23rd at 7:30. Campbell plays United on the 19th at 6. And Waterloo once again will play Crestview. So that really does it for Division 3. Only 11 teams in the coverage area. And once again, the district host. So when you get into the semifinals and finals, the Northeast 1 district will be in Medina, and the Northeast 2 district will be in Grand Valley. So some of our teams might be having to do some traveling to get into districts. This was usually a Salem run district, but not anymore. Grand Valley and Medina will be hosting the 2 districts there.
Yeah, as both of those teams are going to be fun hosting schools, though, having a chance to.
I've never been to either school, so I don't know. But excited to see what it looks like, and hopefully our teams can get there. Now, Division 4, that's where it gets kind of wild because we have 17 out of 26 teams in the Division 4 seeding. So this one we will absolutely go through the whole seeding here for you. Wellsville gets the 1 seed. They are 18-0 at the time of voting. No shock there. Wellsville has owned Division 4 in the area for quite some time.
Yeah,
Western Reserve.
Fantastic team.
Western Reserve will be the 2 seed. They're chasing Wellsville. Maplewood at a 14-0 record will have the 3 seed. McDonald at 14-4 is the 4. Columbiana right behind him at 13-4 is the 5. You look at Southern Local as the 6 at 13-5. Matthews the 7 at 14-5. Mineral Ridge is the 8 seed at 12-5. Jackson Milton is the 9 seed at 12-6. Brookfield is the 10 seed at 11-5. Badger the 11 at 11-6. Ashtabula St. John is 9-9, and they are the 12 seed. 13 is Sebring, they are 9-9. 14 is Lowville, they are 8-9. JFK is 8-8. They are right behind Lowville as the 15 seed. Newton Falls is the 16 seed at 7-11. Heartland is the 17 seed at 6-7. Wyndham is the 18 seed, 8-8. Bristol is the 19 seed at 7-11. Springfield will be the 20 seed. Lisbon will be 21. Shocker 22. Valley Christian at 3-14 will be 23. Lordstown 24. Bloomfield 25. Latonia 26. And the Academy of Urban Scholars will be the 27 seed. So 27 teams in Division 4, and we have 17 of them in the YSN coverage map.
Yeah, we dominate Division 4 too, so we'll have a lot of fun matchups in Division 4 to look out for too, and especially as it winds down, as it's going to be a gauntlet for a lot of those YSN schools. But I like our odds that someone comes atop of Division 4.
So we'll start with the Northeast 1 bracket, which will be held in Lisbon for the district semifinals and finals. And Lisbon will get a bye as the 21 seed. They will play the winner of Ashtabula St. John and Shocker on the 21st at 6 o'clock. Ashtabula St. John is the 12 seed. Shocker is the 22. Wellsville, they will play on the 19th and open their tournament against the Academy of Urban Scholars on the 19th at 6 o'clock. Also at Wellsville, Lowville will be playing Wyndham. That is the 14-18 matchup on the 19th at 7:30. Those two winners will play each other on the 21st at 7:30. You look at the other half of the bracket. Jackson Milton has a bye as the 9 seed. They are awaiting the winner of Columbiana versus Lordstown. And then you have Badger will play Latonia on the 20th at 6. By the way, that Columbiana game is at 4:30 on the 20th. Badger Latonia will be at Columbiana at 6 o'clock. And then also at Columbiana at 7:30, Southern will play Springfield. That is a matchup of 6 versus 20. You have that'll do it for that bracket. As very interesting. Wellsville, the 1 seed. The next highest seed, I believe, to come out of there is Columbiana, if I'm not mistaken, at the 5. So a lot of people not wanting to deal with Wellsville in the district tournament.
Well, yeah, obviously with good reason. You see what they've been able to do all season long. You don't want to have to deal with them, especially early on. But yeah, it's going to be a fun Division 4 the way it shapes up, because ultimately some teams are going to have to face Wellsville, and we'll see which teams are ready to step up to the plate and see if they can give them a good run for their money.
Well, missing Wellsville means that this next bracket becomes all the more interesting. It is the Northeast 2 bracket, and it will be held in Columbiana as far as the districts go. And then you have Western Reserve, the 2 seed. They get a first-round bye. They will play on the 21st at 6 versus the winner of Warren JFK and Heartland Christian. That is the 15 seed versus the 17 seed. Brookfield, they have the 10 seed. They will play on the 19th against Valley Christian, the 23 seed. Sebring McKinley will play on the 19th at 7:30 from Brookfield. They will play Bristol, the 19 seed. You look ahead, Mineral Ridge, they are the 8 seed. They will play on the 20th at 6 o'clock against Bloomfield. And Matthews will play at 7:30 against Newton Falls, the 16 seed. Matthews to 7. That'll be on the 20th at 7. So Ridge, Bloomfield, and Matthews, Newton Falls, that'll be held at Matthews. McDonald is the 4 seed. They have a bye. They will play on the 23rd against 7:30 against the winner of Matthews versus Newton Falls. And that winner of Mineral Ridge and Bloomfield will await Maplewood, the 3 seed. So in this bracket, you have the 3 seed, the 2 seed, and the 4 seed, all vying for a district championship.
Yeah, that'll be definitely an interesting bracket. Trying to avoid Wellsville, but you're gonna have to go through a gauntlet in of itself before you get there. So it'll definitely be an interesting part of the bracket.
So that is the brackets. I know that was kind of dry, and we just kind of went through the matchups. But as the tournaments get further, we will kind of have previews of the matchups, previews of the brackets, kind of make our picks of who's going to come out of each bracket, and we'll have more coverage as the week goes on. But we just wanted to kind of announce the bracket today and announce the seeds since they are out. So thank you for kind of sticking with us through that. I know it was a lot of meat to chew on, but we will take a quick break. And on the other end, Dana Ballish will be calling in at 1 o'clock, and then we will dive into some soccer brackets that have also been released this weekend. So first break of the day on Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Focus Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hubbard Chevrolet. Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we are getting ready for our phone call with Dana Ballish here pretty soon. I do want to just reiterate that we did kind of break down the brackets of volleyball in divisions 1 through 4, and as the show continues, we will release the soccer brackets that have been announced as well, and you'll get to find out where your favorite soccer team lies in the tournament time action. And there were some really good soccer teams. We talk about volleyball, but there are really good soccer teams that look poised to make a very deep tournament run.
Yeah, absolutely. Has a lot of good soccer teams, boys and girls, both around the area, and definitely going to be an instance when state tournaments start. I think it's going to be very exciting to see which teams come on top.
And one of the things that I'm excited about is this week we have Mike Bailey on Wednesday at 12, and we can dive a little bit more into tournaments with him. He's always a fun guest to have, and we'll have him in studio on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. So maybe we'll stay even a little bit on that day.
Yeah, it should be a fun day.
The other guest we have confirmed for the week so far, Alyssa Leskovac, the winner of the Big Dogs of the Valley this week, will be at 12:30 on Wednesday as well. So don't miss Wednesday. It's going to be a fun one. We're also reaching out to Austin Klein, who won the football category of Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley as well. And then, tomorrow we're going to be releasing our next week of Big Dogs of the Valley. We just keep going. We keep voting. YSN Nation showed up big for this week's Big Dog of the Valley. Awesome turnout from YSN Nation.
Big turnout as when you have as many great programs as that leading the way, you get two that came out on top. We saw Beaver Local winning their second Big Dog of the Valley this year, and Fitch also winning their second one of the year as well. So we're seeing some pretty strong backing from a few communities this year, as I believe that is now 3 schools that have now 2 Big Dog winners, as both Fitch and I think now Beaver Local have won in both volleyball and football. Of course, the other one is West Branch that has 2 back-to-back in football.
Yeah, and that's insane. Like, that is insanity.
A lot of Big Dog winners around the area too. A lot of 2-time school winners as well too, and you could see where some premier athletes are too. And it's not just one sport for both Beaver Local and Austintown. They have great backing in a multitude of sports.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe those are the only 2 schools that have won both volleyball and football. Beaver Local.
I'm pretty sure it's been Fitch and it's been Fitch and Beaver Local that have won both the volleyball and the football Big Dogs this year.
Still got a couple weeks left to fix that if other teams want to have a stake in that flag.
Absolutely. Get out there and vote for our Big Dogs too when we have them coming up. It's gonna be a fun time.
Here's another interesting thing. Volleyball hasn't gotten 2 from a school yet, so could have happened. I'm not saying it. But as the year goes on, we could see that. We could see multiple players from a school.
Yeah, absolutely, and it should be interesting to see which communities come up this week too, as we get excited for the release of our next Big Dogs. And of course, you could always check our Big Dogs too. I believe it comes out on Tuesdays, so check in tomorrow, I believe, for our next Big Dog of the Valley winners, as the total was at 112,586 votes total between the 2 And that is absolutely incredible that much showed up, over 110,000 votes this week, as you guys absolutely showed up big time, and supported these student athletes. And I know they know that they appreciate it more than you guys can ever imagine when they see how many of you tune in and vote for these guys and girls to win these big dogs of the valley. We love it too, and we hope to get both Klein, and we already have Leskovac confirmed on the show. So we love talking with our big dogs of the valley every week as well.
All right, Ty, you know who else we really like talking to every week, and that is Dana Balish, who joins us now on the hotline like he does every Monday. Dana, thank you so much for taking the time to join us like you do every week.
No problem, Anthony. How are you?
We're doing good. It was a great week 8. Before we get into what's going on this week, let's get your biggest takeaways from the week 8 of football.
Well, we're kind of on that rounding the corner now and heading down the home stretch. In years gone by, I mean, you're always talking, what teams have to win for postseason, and I think it's now just for jockeying for position, trying to be in the top 8 to get a home game, and play your best. I mean, try to avoid the injuries. Everyone has bumps and bruises at this point in the season, but I think you want to be playing your best. I think you want to, kind of take that next step as, we're heading into week 9. I mean, this is you're coming up to third base now, and a week from now will be down the stretch, and just be playing your best. You want to improve. I think some teams have gotten better. I think some teams maybe have taken a step back. But in this long season, now we're heading into week 9. You can't play your best all the season. And you could look at the undefeated teams in West Branch, Hubbard, South Range. I mean, they have not played perfect games. They played well enough to win, and they're going to try to continue that streak this week.
Yeah, and as we look through some teams, one of the things we talked about with these 16 teams in the playoffs are teams that are having the opportunity to work themselves in a playoff spot that wouldn't in normal years. So we saw Niles get a win, and they moved from 17 to 16, and some other schools moved from in the 20s up to 18 or 17 with a real chance to make the playoffs. So how significant do you think it is for those teams that have maybe had a good but not great year that are still fighting for a playoff spot and staying engaged in weeks 8 and 9?
Well, I mean, it's good for morale, let's face it. I mean, again, back, last year or in 2019, I should say, when you're out of the playoffs, you kind of lose that step you have during practice. So, I mean, I think this is a good step for teams that, are on the fringe of making the playoffs. But, and again, I mean, we don't have no one in Division I, but, in Division I, we got 2 teams that are winless that, are in that 16th playoff spot, which to me is ludicrous. So I think there's pros and cons to it. I'm not a big fan of the 16. I don't like the 16, but that's not going to change. And for teams that, can get in, it's an opportunity to play another week and practice another week.
Do you see any teams maybe below the 8 Mendoza line that have a chance to win at least a game or 2 in the playoffs?
Well, I think you got to look at it. I think, again, it's a little early to look at that. The majority of our teams are in divisions, 5, 6, and 7. You look at I think you got to look at it, not teams that are below the line, but teams that are above it. I mean, Hubbard's undefeated, West Branch is undefeated, South Range is undefeated. Springfield is 7-1, and is playing some pretty good football. Again, we talk about it all the time now. If you look at Springfield, I believe, and I may be wrong on this, but I believe they've only played 2 teams on their schedule, maybe 3 that have a winning record. And again, when you don't play and again, that's no disrespect to Springfield. It's just the conference they're in is not where it usually is. I mean, McDonald is struggling, and that sort of thing. But I think coaches are going to take it in stride. Hey, look, if we have another week to practice and play a game, anything can happen. But I think in my opinion, I think when we get 2 weeks from now, and we're in, the first week of the playoffs, just how many of these teams, 12 through 16 or even, 9 through 16 are actually going to advance.
You brought up Springfield. Their region is starting to turn into a who's who of really good football teams in the area. I mean, La Brea is the 3 seed right now. They had a big statement win over Brookfield. You had, I think Brookfield is still in that division at 6, and they had a tough game with Springfield, lost on a last-second touchdown. This won't be an easy region to get out of for the Tigers.
Well, I don't think it's going to be an easy region really for any local team, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you got Mogador in that region. I think that Norway team that Hubbard beat, in week 1 is really, really getting better as the season's going on. I think, it's just so hard to pinpoint. I mean, that's the 6 region, 21, I believe, in Division 7, like with JFK and Lowellville. You got Norwalk, St. Paul. You got a Lucas team that had an opportunity to play JFK and decided not to. So there's some teams that have stung area teams before. I mean, in Division 5, Kirtland is that team. So I just think, from this standpoint, it's a week by week process. And ironically, Los Angeles, St. Joe's, and Ursuline played, and they're in the same region, and they could possibly play again. So, but I think with 16 teams now, a lot can happen. So, I give credit for Ursuline taking that game. Like I said, Lucas wanted to play JFK opted to play Lucas, and Lucas said no. So, there's some gamemanship going on.
Absolutely. We can absolutely talk about the tournaments in the other sports, soccer and volleyball, having their brackets released today. And we have several teams in both sports that have good chances to make deep tournament runs. What were some of your takeaways when you saw some of the postseason placements of these local teams in volleyball and soccer?
Well, I think volleyball is one of those sports. Again, you're playing, best of 5, so you got to win 3 games. I mean, Crestview is always good. Girard's always good. In the volleyball ranks. I mean, I think we have 5 teams in the state poll. The soccer rankings will come out. I mean, on the boys' side, I don't think you can look any further past, Howland, who, again, I think is having a good year. On the girls' side, I think it's pretty much wide open, and that's certainly something that you got to keep your eye on and see where these teams are going and see what they're doing, because the competition just gets better. And when you get outside the area in all sports, it picks up, and those schools in those other areas probably are saying the same thing. Hey, once we get out of here, the competition gets better.
I think of course Howland is a team to watch in boys soccer. Poland right there with them. And then I think in girls soccer, I think Salem is still having a really good season, just 1 loss on the year. South Range is a 1 seed in Division 3 as well. They play up in their schedule. So I think a lot of good things coming for our soccer and volleyball teams.
Well, and again, it's, in any sport, you need a little luck in the ball to bounce your way. And I think, that there's a great possibility. I mean, usually there's some teams under the radar that, do very well, and I would expect the same thing this time around in those Olympic sports.
Before we get to your preview of what WFMJ will be having for us this week, I want to talk about Ysu Football. They got a big win against a team that was really impressive in the spring, maybe the best quarterback in the conference, and YSU gets the, I believe, 41-33, if I'm not mistaken, was the final score, the win over Missouri Valley. This is a team that got some gut punches and kind of got off the mat and got a big win. What does it say about the character of this team?
Well, I think, they played well. They didn't make mistakes. I think it was a good win for them. They came out, they played their game. They had some explosive plays, and that's what Coach Phillips has been talking about all season, getting those explosives. And they were able to get them on offense and special teams. So I think this is a case where you grow from it. Now they have an off week, then they have to go to Indiana State, who beat Western Illinois, who beat YSU, a couple of weeks ago. So, you got 2 wins under your belt. You have a week off, get healthy a little bit, because again, there's bumps and bruises. But I thought it was a good performance by YSU. I mean, there was some rain that kind of maybe halted things for a little bit from an offensive standpoint. But I thought they came out and played really, really well. They stayed to the game plan. Special teams was huge. And they made plays when they had to, and that's something we haven't seen in the first, month of the season.
Dana, we love the content that you guys put up every week for 21 FMJ. So what should fans expect on the airways this week for 21 Sports and all the things you're putting up?
Yeah, well, we're going to have Mark Porter from Scouting, Ohio is going to break down the Canfield Cardinals. Again, one of those teams that's won 7 in a row. In each of those games, they've scored at least 35 points, so he's going to break down the Cardinals. Tomorrow, we'll take it YSU and their money games, how much money they're going to bring over the next several years by playing these bigger schools. Then, of course, we'll also have our YSN preview with DJ Oakley on Thursday. Then Friday, we get set for week number 9.
It's going to be an exciting week as we get closer and closer to playoffs. Dana, thank you so much for taking the time to join us like you do every week. We look forward to our call again next week.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. That was Dana Ballish, the sports director over at 21 WFMJ, calling like he does every week. We thank him for his time, and we always thank 21 WFMJ for their wonderful partnership that they have with us at YSN.
Yeah, absolutely. We love our partnership with 21 WFMJ. Wouldn't have it any other way here at YSN.
And Ty, it's always awkward because you can't be a part of those conversations because of the technology gap. But what were some of your takeaways of that conversation with Dana?
I mean, we're just getting closer to the playoffs now. So now these matchups start becoming very important. There's only 2 weeks left, and the teams that are either in it or looking for a spot, a lot of them control their own destiny right now. So these next 2 weeks are where you're going to see some, I think, really high quality football, because you're going to see a lot of teams fighting for their playoff life these next 2 weeks.
And man, he said it for these tournament games and eventually for the playoffs for football too. There's some luck involved. You need some luck to advance in the playoffs or tournaments or wherever you are. You need the ball to bounce your way a couple of times. And it's going to be interesting to see what teams get that fortuitous bounce every now and then.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be huge for those teams too. Whoever comes out of the gates, it's a little bit of luck and a whole lot of skill to make it to the playoffs. So you look at what we have here, and a lot of divisions, a lot of teams trying to make it in, and a lot of teams needing some things to go right. Some teams just needing to win the game that's in front of them to make the things go right. But everyone in a different situation, but we're definitely getting a very, very clear picture of what the playoffs are going to look like in each division. And now we know, with only 2 weeks left, too, after next week, the picture is going to be just about painted for us.
You know, the picture is painted for boys soccer, and that's where we're going to go to next. We're going to start with Division I, of course, in boys soccer, as the seeds have been announced. And the 1 seed, hey, just like volleyball, it's Massillon Jackson. Our highest seed in Division I is Boardman. They come in as the 8th seed, and they are sitting at a 9-1-2 record on the boys' side. And then you look at further down the list, Austintown Fitch is coming in at the 28th seed in Division I. Their record is 3-8-1 on the year. And that is actually it for boys soccer in Division I, if I'm not mistaken. Fitch and Boardman. You know, we talked about Canfield in the girls' sports, but in the boys' sports, I believe their cutoff line is Division II for Canfield. So I think Fitch Boardman is all you got in Division I. If I'm not missing someone, I'm double checking this list. I am. No, I think I'm good. Warren Harding is the 31 seed, but they're not one of our teams, but they are in our area, so we'll throw them a bone there. But Boardman, the highest seed in Division I in our area, they are 8 seed, excuse me. And we'll look at the bracket real quick just to see where Boardman is going to go. Northeast 1 for Division I is going to be districts are going to be held in Cleveland. So if our area teams make it in the districts, they will have some traveling to do. And I'm looking just real quick for Boardman. Give me a minute to pull up their bracket, they must be in 2. So Boardman's not in 2, and neither is Fitch. So they must be in Northeast 2, which is also going to be held in Cleveland.
Yeah, as we see both Boardman, Fitch, two of those teams, as the divisions get a little bit wonky as we go through soccer, so it becomes a little bit different from football and volleyball. But
Okay.
certainly,
Fitch is actually in Northeast 3. I found him. It's like, where's Waldo? They will be playing on October 20th at 6 o'clock against a 13 seed Painesville Harvey. So that's where Fitch falls. Now Boardman, there they are, same bracket. They will play on October 20th at 6 o'clock against Akron North, the 27 seed for Boardman. And Boardman will get the home game in that one, as they will host Akron North on the 20th at 6. That is the 8 versus 27. Once again, Fitch will be going to Painesville Harvey, 6 o'clock on the 20th. And that's the 28 seed versus the 13.
Yeah, should be another one of those great matchups too in the soccer realm.
So now this is when it gets really interesting, because we go into D2, and we have a lot more teams in this D2 region. And 1 and 2, 1, 2, and 3 actually proud YSN teams in the boys Division 3. Howland number 1, Poland number 2, Canfield number 3. So it's going to be a rockin' Division 2 district. Howland is 11-1-0, Poland is 12-1-1, and Canfield 7-3-2. You go through the rest of it. Hubbard is the next highest seed at 10, and they are 7-6-0. Salem is 2 spots behind them at 12. They are 9-5-1. Louisville is 14th. They are 5-4-3. So we continue to go down the lineup. Girard is 5-6-2. They are the 20th seed. Lakeview is the 22nd seed. They are 5-6-1. Niles right behind them at 23. They are 4-9-2. West Branch 4-10-0. They are the 24. Jefferson is 2-10-0. They are the 26. And then that'll do it for those seeds for Division 2. You look at the bracket in Division 2. Northeast 1, this district will be held in Akron. As we look at the top of the bracket, Howland is the 1 seed, and they will have the bye. They will play on October 23rd at 4 o'clock against the winner of Girard and Edgewood. That game will be happening on October 19th at 6. That is 21 versus 20. So actually, could be competitive for a matchup with Howland.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with Howland, we've seen that they have the ability of being defeated this season, so it should be interesting to see if any other team can pull off an upset.
Boardman did it, and they either woke the sleeping giant or they showed a chink in their armor, and it'll be interesting to see which side of the line that falls on. You look at the rest of this bracket. Salem is the 12 seed. They will be playing against Louisville, so a YSN versus YSN matchup. That'll be on October 19th at 6 o'clock, 14 versus 12. And that one will be in Sabo Stadium in, of course, Salem. So Salem hosting that game between the 12 and 14 seeds. They will host the Leopards. So that'll be a fun one for the Quakers to host their first tournament game. And the winners there will play the winner of Lake Catholic, which is the 6th seed, and Perry, which is the 28th. So Salem has a good chance to maybe get into a district if they play their cards right.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just a little bit of luck where you position yourself too in the brackets. So Salem definitely has an opportunity to.
So we go to Northeast 2. This district will also be held in Akron. The bye goes to Poland. They are the 2 seed. They will play October 23rd at 4 o'clock at Poland. They will play the winner of Canton South and Niles McKinley. Niles is the 23 seed, Canton South the 19, and that'll be on October 19th at 6 o'clock.
That should be a good one, too. It should be a fun one.
Jefferson, the 26th seed, will go to Chagrin Falls, the 9 seed, on the 19th at 6 o'clock. Canfield will be playing Conneaut, the 30 seed. Canfield, the 3. That is on the 19th at 6.
Canfield's been doing a pretty good job this season as well, so that should be another one of those matchups that are really fun too. Because looking at what Canfield, especially the girls program, is, it's usually really, really good. So it should be fun one to watch.
West Branch has to travel the field. That'll be on the 19th at 6 as well. That's 15 versus 24.
One of those closer matchups too with West Branch, as well as some good competition too in the soccer realm. And as we look at what we look at the brackets too being released, it should be we look at just some of these matchups too, and some of the lower matchups. You're going to see some of those rivalry games even start crossing paths again, and you might see some repeats of regular season matchups in a lot of these tournament draws.
Another Ysn versus Ysn matchup. Hubbard, the 10 seed, will host Lakeview, the 22, on October 19th at 6 o'clock. And then we will have that is it, because the 3 seed Canfield not having a bye. I'm going to go to Northeast 3, which is also in Akron, just in case I missed any of our schools. Soccer districts a little bit more spread out than volleyball as far as how many districts each are in. Nope, I think this is all going to be in the Akron area. So I think with those two, Northeast 1 and 2, we hit all of our teams as far as who's playing who. So we'll go to Division 3 and see what the voting turned out to be there. So in Division 3, Columbiana Crestview, that's our pride and joy. They got the 1 seed. They are 12-1-0. Ursuline got the 2 seed at 9-2-2. South Range, the 3 seed, 8-2-1. Remember, they beat Poland, the 2 seed, over in Division 2 earlier this year as well. So South Range, a very formidable 3 seed. Matthews is the 4. Warren JFK is the 5. Badger the 6. Champion the 7. Grand Valley the 8. Cardinal Mooney the 9. Maplewood 10. Columbiana 11. LeBray 12. Middle Ridge 13. Brookfield 14. Heartland 15. Pie Valley is 16. Lordstown is 17. And Camel Memorial wraps us up at 18 in Division 3. You look at the district tournaments in Division 3. Northeast 1, this will take place in Niles when the district semifinals and finals get here. Crestview has the bye week as the 1 seed. They will play on the 23rd at 4 o'clock against the winner of Pimenton Valley and Lordstown. That is a 16 versus 17 matchup, which is going on the 19th at 6. Below them, Brookfield and LeBray both getting a bye as the 14 versus 12 will play on the 23rd at 4. That one will be in LeBray. You go further down the bracket, Matthews will be playing Cardinal Mooney. That is the 4 versus 9 matchup. Very sneakily interesting. We've talked to Coach Britton a couple of times. Mooney plays a gauntlet of a schedule. They get the 9 seed. That 4 seed has to be put on red alert when they're playing Mooney, a team that went all the way to the state semifinals last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's a Mooney team that's already faced some tough competition, and they've made themselves ready for this moment.
They've played Howland. They've played Ontario. They've played a lot of really strong soccer teams already this season. They will be geared up for Division 3. They are the 9 seed. Once again, they will play at Matthews on the 23rd at 4 o'clock. John F. Kidney will be the 5 seed. They will also have a bye, and they will play the 23rd at 11 a.m., so a early game on the 23rd, as they will play Champion, the 7 seed. That'll be at JFK.
Champion and JFK should be a good matchup in between YSN schools.
So we go to the Northeast 2 district. Also, championships and semifinals will be played at Niles. Ursuline, once again, the 2 seed. They get the bye. They will play the 23rd at 1 o'clock. and they will play the winner of Mineral Ridge versus Heartland Christian. That is the 15 versus the 13. Could be a good one on the 19th at 6 o'clock at Mineral Ridge. The next part of their bracket, Grand Valley, the 4 seed, will play Maplewood. Grand Valley, the 8 seed, will play Maplewood, the 10. That'll be the 23rd at 4. The winners will play the winner of Ursuline versus Mineral Ridge or Heartland Christian. In the next slate, Columbiana will travel to Badger. That is 11 versus 6. And that'll be on the 23rd at 4 o'clock from Badger. Camel will travel to South Range on the 23rd at 4. And that is 18 versus 3. So that one, if Chalk plays out, South Range will meet Ursuline in the district championship. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah, it seems like we're on replay with that one all the time. South Range and Ursuline always meeting each other, it seems like.
It's becoming a very distinct rivalry. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I mean, when you got two programs that are so good in a multitude of sports, you almost expect them to meet each other up.
It would be a heck of a district championship, of course. I mean, Ursuline, as we said, 2 losses on the year. Records are almost the same. They both play up. So it would be a very fun district championship. And if Chalk went over in the other one in Northeast 1, it would be Crestview, and they would play the 4 seed Matthews. But, I got to say, and I don't feel bad saying this because Matthews isn't a YSN team. I don't know if Matthews can beat Mooney in the first round of the playoffs. Like, that's a tough first round draw.
Yeah, it is a tough first round draw. And I mean, I think upset alert for everybody as soon as Mooney is in the picture.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a very sneaky suspicion that we'll see Mooney Crestview in the district final.
We very well could, and that would be a pretty darn good matchup, I think.
Yeah, and that will do it for the boys. 3 divisions and a lot of fun soccer matchups going on next week. That'll start on the 19th and leak into the 23rd for the sectionals. And as the tournaments get closer, we will of course send those to you. Let's head over to girls soccer and check out what they're doing. And as always, let's start with Division 1 and look at the seedings here. The 1 seed goes to Walsh Jesuit, 2 to Twinsburg, 3 to Massillon Jackson, 4 to Solon, 5 to Hudson, 6 to Hoban, 7 to Minter, 8 to Glen Oak, 9 to Stowe Falls. That is 10 to Madison, 11 to Green. Howland comes in as the highest seed in our coverage map, as a 7-5 record gets them the 12th seed in Division 1. You look a little bit further, Boardman, who has been a little up and down, 5-7-2, but a very quality soccer team, is given the 18 seed. Austintown Fitch, 2 behind them, as a 20 seed. They are 4-7-2. And then you look, and I believe that'll do it for our Division 1 teams. Want to throw Warren Harding a little bone. They are the 27th seed. Louisville, can't miss them. They are the 24 seed with a record of 4-6-5. 5 ties for Louisville. That's a high number. You look at some of the other schools, 2-1. Only one of their team has more than 2, and they have 5 as well. So that's a lot of ties for the Leopards. 4-6-5. A lot of games that probably could have gone Leopards' way. I mean, that could easily be a 9-6 record.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it just shows that they were competitive with a bunch of teams this season. It's just about, can they finish games now going into the playoffs?
They'll try to finish it. We'll look at Northeast 1 and Division 1. And once again, just hang with us as we find our teams. Louisville right there in the top. They will play the Ashtabula Lakeside. That'll be a 24 versus 29 matchup. So Louisville will have a home game on the 19th at 6 o'clock. The winner will go to Massillon Jackson, the 3 seed. You look down the lineup. Boardman is in this bracket as well. They will play Mayfield. They will host Mayfield as the 18 seed versus the 21. That'll be on the 19th at 6 o'clock. Howland right there below Boardman. They will play Canton McKinley. They will also host this game. That will be the 12 seed versus the 34 seed. That'll be the 19th at 6 o'clock. And Chardon is the last team on the bracket. They will host Kent Roosevelt. Stone Monroe Falls is in this bracket, as well as Solon and Green. So that the top 4 seeds in the bracket getting a bye are Jackson, Green, Solon, and Monroe Falls. So we'll go to Division 2, Northeast 2, and try to find Canfield. Try to find Fitch. Fitch is the one team we're looking for. Canfield is Division 2 in girls soccer. Looks like Fitch might be in the Northeast 3. Which means they will miss the 1 seed because Walsh Jesuit is in Northeast 2. So we go to Northeast 3, and we're trying to find Fitch. Warren Harding's in this district. They will go to Brush on the 19th at 6. There's Fitch. They have a home game. They will host Maslin Perry. That'll be 20 versus 28. It is on the 18th at 6 o'clock. And the winner there will play Archbishop Hoban on the 21st at 6. Hoban is the 6th seed. So that is Division 1. Highest seed once again is Howland at 12. But I think Boardman and Fitch certainly have legitimate shots of winning a game or two. And then, letting the chips fall where they may in this soccer district.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're one of those underdog teams, or when you're one of those teams that are on top of the mountain too, it's your job to make sure that you can you beat the teams that you should. And if you overlook any of those teams, you better watch out because you could be on upset alert then.
Let's travel down to Division 2 and see where these seeds have been voted. Want to remind everybody that these seeds are completely voted on by the coaches. So unlike football, this is not computer rankings. This is not numbers or an algorithm. This is straight up coaches voting on these seeds. So they might be a little bit skewed. One, obviously, you can't count out that there is gamesmanship involved. But also, it's impossible for all 26 coaches to know what the other teams are doing if they don't see them. So sometimes you just kind of go by record and you just put them where you think to put them.
Yeah, pretty much. And you try to look at strength of schedule too, but there's also a human error element that's involved too, but it's everyone that's voting. So, hey, everyone gets a say.
So you look at Division 2 in the East, and it is Kinston with the 1 seed. They are 12-0-2. Canfield got the 2 seed. They are 12-1-0. So Canfield's right behind them. No ties, but these two teams' records are pretty solid even. Kinston doesn't have a loss, but they have 2 ties. Canfield has 1 loss, but no ties. Canfield has a game on tonight, I believe, as well. They will finish their AAC schedule, and I will make sure to mention, because Coach Simone made it a point, that they have not clinched the outright title yet. They're going for that tonight. They have only clinched at least a share of the AAC. So going for an outright championship tonight are the Cardinals, and they are returning to action after, I believe, a week off. They were scheduled to play Chagrin Falls last week, and that game got nixed by Chagrin Falls. So they are returning to the pitch tonight, and they are trying to wrap up the AAC. We go further into the seeds. West Branch is the next highest seed. They are the 7 seed at 9-3-2. Poland Seminary is the 9 seed. They are 10-2-1. 10-2-1. Go a little bit further, you get Niles. They are sitting at the 12 seed. Their record is 8-4. Hubbard right behind them at the 13 seed. They are 6-5. Girard is 5-5-2. They are the 17 seed. Lakeview is 3-7-2. They are sitting at 19. Cardinal Mooney is the 21 seed. And Struthers is the 24. And Jefferson is the 25. So those are where our teams line up in Division 2 as far as girls soccer goes. And now let's go into the districts. Northeast 1, this district is going to be held in Akron. So the championships and semifinals will be in Akron. And you'll look at it. Girard is going to kick things off at the top of the bracket. They will be hosting Ravenna on the 18th at 6 o'clock. The winner there will play Kinston, the 1 seed, on the 21st at 6. Right below them, Niles, the 12 seed, will be hosting Marlington. That'll be on the 18th at 6. Winner there will play the winner of our next matchup, and that is Geneva at Perry. So those two teams will play the winner of Niles and Marlington. Salem, the 5 seed, they get a home game. They will be hosting Edgewood, the 23 seed, on the 18th at 6 o'clock. The winner will go to, will play at Poland. And if Salem wins, they'll get 2 home games. And if Salem gets upset, Poland will get a home game. That game will be on the 21st at 6. You look down, the bottom of the bracket, Mooney, the 21 seed, will travel to Alliance, the 11 seed. That'll be on the 18th at 6. And the winner will play Mogador Field, the 8th seed, on the 21st at 6. So that is the Northeast 1 bracket. And now we'll hop down to the Northeast 2. What kind of caught your eye for that first bracket? I know it's hard to a lot of meat to follow.
Yeah, I mean, there is absolutely a lot of meat to follow, but I mean, just looking at it too, I mean, you're getting a lot of these interesting matchups too, because there's some teams that are trying to avoid playing some of the top teams early, and they're going to go face a mid-tier team, but those mid-tier teams might be the teams that are actually going to be the tougher ones to beat. And I mean, you look at just where some of these soccer teams have been ranked too. Higher based on the coaches than what we've seen in football rankings. So you might actually see more of the top teams actually reflect what they actually are right now, because the coaches do know pretty well who the toughest teams are to beat in each area. But hey, sometimes coaches can be a little bit biased towards one team over another. So you see one might get ranked a little bit higher or a little bit lower over another. So I think matchups certainly are the definite the most interesting part, looking at those mid-tier matchups too. Maybe not so much the top tier versus the bottom tier for upset alert, but a lot of your mid-tier and you talk about those 3 levels. I'm talking more of those second level versus that level right below them.
Yeah, that's what made football last year so interesting. They got a taste into what we've been seeing the whole time from soccer and volleyball and basketball and softball. This little gamesmanship and voting on your seeds instead of just a computer saying this is where you land. It was fun to see football coaches have to go through that a little bit, and probably calling up their basketball coaches and their volleyball coaches and their soccer coaches saying, how do we do this? What's the strategy? And where do you think I should vote these teams?
Yeah, and it's a lot more difficult too. And I mean, depending on what side of the fence you're on, I think certain people like computer points, certain people like coach voting for different reasons too. I can understand the appeal of each because at least with like the coach voting, strength of schedule, stuff like that is taken into effect, where I can understand the appeal, because I do like kind of the computer point system and just looking at that and saying, hey, there's no excuses. There's no high hands or ties into any of it. Where you are is where you play.
The thing that computer points, you get points for Division II no matter what. Like, it's Division II team, you get computer points. But a coach will sit there and say, okay, you played a Division II team, but we know that Division II team is not a great Division II team, so we're not going to give you too much credit for that. That's where I think the difference is. Like,
well, yeah, there's definite.
You could go beat a 1-9 Division II team and get all the points for a Division II win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I mean, like I said, I understand the appeal to it. And I think we all know the reason why they did it is to take the headache and the hassle off the coach's hands and just say, hey, whoever gets in is who gets in. And they opened it up to 16 teams. So even if you are, and what we have seen, and I do kind of like what football did opening it up, because even if you do play those 1-9 teams, you're still not gonna, I don't think, take a spot away necessarily from someone else. I think with it being 16 teams in each region, it's definitely opened it up. And then as far as like soccer and volleyball are concerned, like we see with this, we get the coaching atmosphere too. It's going to be interesting to see which ones kind of give us the better matchups, where the computers ranked us or where the coaches ranked us, because now we could kind of give head-to-head comparisons.
So let's go into this Northeast 2 bracket in Division II for girls soccer. Canfield is the 2 seed, and they are the top of the bracket. They will get the first round bye. They will play the winner of West Branch and Painesville Harvey. That'll be at West Branch on the 18th at 6 o'clock. This is a tough draw for Canfield in the first round. I mean, if West Branch takes care of business, West Branch is a very good team. Anna Gregory putting on a great show over there. They have plenty of good talent, and that won't be an easy first game for Canfield, 2 versus 7. They've played each other. It was a pretty competitive soccer match, if I recall correctly. So not exactly the easiest draw for Canfield in the world, as they play the winner of West Branch versus Painesville Harvey. You look at the next matchup in the bracket, and it'll be the 6th seed, and that'll be West Geauga. They will play the winner of Southeast and Crestwood. So no Ysn schools there, and that'll be who Canfield will have to deal with if they get past their sectional matchup. The 3 seed is in this district. That's Statesboro. They will play the winner of Hubbard, and Hubbard will be hosting Lakeview. An NE8 matchup in the tournament. That'll be the 18th at 6. That is a 13 versus 19. And the winner, once again, will be playing Statesboro, the 3 seed, on October 21st at 6 o'clock. Go further down the lineup. Struthers has a bye as the 24 seed. They await the winner of Jefferson versus Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. So this was because NDCL made the choice that they didn't want to buy. Because when you're the higher seeds, you get to pick where you want to be in the bracket. And they decided they didn't want the buy, so they gave it to Struthers. So they will play a first-round matchup against Jefferson, the 25 seed. And if they win, they will play the 24 seed Struthers. If it goes chalk, both those games will be at Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. And then they will obviously go to Akron if they make it to districts.
Yeah, and what we're seeing too is, I mean, Struthers now gets the bye in game 1, but now has to look ahead to face most likely a powerhouse. But hey, upsets happen before, and if an upset does happen, all of a sudden Struthers and Jefferson, their path to the state championships all of a sudden becomes a little less hefty and a little less traveled on, and it's going to be a lot more interesting, I think.
This is why I laugh when I go outside the area and I see gyms, outside of our coverage map that say sectional runners up in the banners, and I'm just like, because Struthers is automatically a sectional runner up, So, and they don't hang sectional runners up as banners, but I see some schools do, and it's just like you can get a bye and automatically be a sectional runner up. Like, you did not do anything, and you're the sectional runner up. Like, why are we putting that on a banner?
Yeah, honestly, and that's kind of funny too that teams decided to do that as well.
So if it goes chalk, Canfield will play Notre Dame Cathedral Latin in the championship. That is 2 versus 4. Actually, Streetsboro is the 3. So if it goes chalk, it'll be Streetsboro versus Canfield. Notre Dame Cathedral Latin the 4. So Canfield, a tough bracket. The 3, the 4 seed are in there. The 7 seed is in there. A very good 7 seed. You look at 14s in there, 13. So a lot of people avoiding that 1 seed in Kenston and going to Canfield's district. So Canfield got a really tough district to get out of if they want to get to regionals.
Yeah, and I mean, Canfield, one of those teams too that always schedules up. They play tough schedules for a reason, so they're going to have to go through another tough gauntlet to get to where they want to be.
All right, before we get out of here, let's check out the Division III girls seeds in soccer. South Range getting the 1 seed. They are 9-3. Their 3 losses came to Poland, Canfield, and Salem. So all strong teams that South Range got a loss to. They're starting to get a little healthy as Gabby Lamparty is playing at closer to 100%. So they'll be an interesting team to watch in D3. They get the 1 seed. Berkshire is the 2. United the 3. Springfield the 4. Champion the 5. Rootstown the 6. Pimenton Valley the 7. Badger the 8. Crestview, which is a very interesting team. Macy Schaefer has been putting on a show all season. They're a hard offense to stop when they're rolling. They're 7-5, and they are the 9 seed. Ursuline the 10. Waterloo the 11. This is interesting because Waterloo, they've beaten Champion on the year twice, and they've tied with Springfield. So they've beaten 5, they've tied 4, and they're sitting at 11.
Like I said, Waterloo's got some great athletic programs too, and I mean we're seeing it. We're seeing the building of the football program, we're seeing the building of the volleyball program, and we're seeing how good their soccer program is. And we already know what basketball's like in Waterloo.
Perfect time to tip the hat to Kara English, who broke her own record over the weekend for goals in a season, eclipsing the 40 mark in their matchup on Saturday. So when you break your own record, as I believe a sophomore, am I right? You cover her in basketball. Is she a sophomore? Maybe a junior?
She might be. I honestly I can't tell you.
I am almost 95% positive she is not a senior. So breaking your record twice before you're even a senior, that's impressive for Carrie English. Let's continue through these seedings as Waterloo is the 11, Grand Valley the 12, Garfield the 13, Bristol the 14, Columbiana 15, Brookfield 16, Conneaut gets the 17 seed, Lordstown the 18, JFK will be given the 19, Latonia the 20, Newton Falls 21, and Maplewood 22. So that's how the seeds line up. Now let's see how these brackets line up. So we'll go from Division 3 to Northeast 1. This one held in Akron in the districts. And it will start out with South Range in the Northeast 1 district. They get the 1 seed and the bye. They await the winner of Conneaut versus Newton Falls. That'll be at Conneaut on the 18th at 6 o'clock. You go down the bracket, the 7 seed Pimenton Valley. They will play the 12 seed Grand Valley. That'll be at Pie Valley on the 18th at 6. You go to Champion is the 5 seed. They get into this district. They will play the winner of Crestview versus Lordstown. If that goes chalk, Crestview versus Champion will be a really fun one.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, anytime I think you put Crestview in the mix, it's going to be a fun one. And to confirm too, Kara English going into her sophomore year, so was a freshman last year. So yeah, a sophomore.
First 2 years of high school, you break a record, then you break it again, your own record, your sophomore year. Very impressive from Kara English. Crestview and Lordstown will play on the 18th at 6, and the winner will play Champion on the 21st at 6 as well. United, they are the 3 seed. They are staying in South Ranges district. They will play the winner of Ursuline versus JFK. So these teams, the 3, 5, 9, 10, they're not shying away from South Range in the 1 seed. So South Range will have to earn this district championship for sure.
You know what? I think they've seen too that though South Range has played a gauntlet of a schedule, they are beatable too, and that they do see that it's not as definitive. I think in Division 3 as maybe the other divisions are.
South Range went to the regional finals last year and fell to Kirtland in girls soccer, and then we'll go to Northeast 2 and see where the other teams land. And this starts with Berkshire, the 2 seed. They get a bye. They will play the winner of Latonia hosting Maplewood on the 18th at 6. That is 20 versus 22. You go further down the bracket, you see the 8 seed Badger. They'll play Garrettsville Garfield at Badger on the 19th at 6. You go to the 6 seed Rootstown. They will have a bye. They await the winner of Waterloo versus Bristol. Didn't know Bristol was in Bristolville. Okay, so Bristol. That's fun to say. They will play Waterloo on the 18th at Waterloo at 6 o'clock. The bottom half of the bracket, Springfield, the 4 seed. They await the winner of Columbiana versus Brookfield. That'll be in Columbiana as 15 versus 16 on the 18th at 5. And the winner will go to Springfield on the 21st at 6. So that bracket has the 2 seed, the 4 seed, the 6 seed, and the 8 seed is the highest ones. So you'll look at Burton Berkshire. Maybe some teams a little bit more afraid of them than South Range. This the way we're seeing it.
Yeah, very well could be, and that might be the case too, especially with the way coaches voted. And it might have been a case where more teams wanted to avoid them, so they voted Berkshire a little bit lower. And that's where we talk about strategy coming into play where you vote these teams and where you place them.
If If Chalk holds out, it will be Berkshire versus Springfield in the district championship. But, man, I would not sleep on Waterloo. As I said, they beat Campion, who's the 5 seed. They've tied Springfield this year. So Waterloo is sitting at 11, and they would have to beat Rootstown if they took care of business at home against Bristol, which won't be a super easy matchup. It's 11 versus 14. If they take care of business, they'll go to Rootstown, and then if they win there, they will probably have a matchup with Springfield if that goes chalk. So it could be a rematch between the Tigers and Vikings, who tied earlier in the season. That was the eye-opener. Everyone was like, Waterloo came in. Springfield was really high. Everyone was high on Springfield. Waterloo tied them, and it was one of those ones that went, oh, okay. And Waterloo continued to build off that. They've beaten Champion on the year, which is the 5 seed, and they will be a dangerous 11 seed to be heard from.
Yeah, and I mean that's going to be a great matchup too if everything does go the way it's planned. But still, 11 versus 14 is nothing to scoff at for our first matchup. So that's going to be a tough one.
Waterloo has to. I'm sure they're a little disappointed, feel a little bit underseeded. They have to shake that off and take care of business against a pretty good 14 seed coming to town.
Yeah, and I mean it should be interesting too, as we have one of those matchups that are going to be. I feel like one of those fun matchups that everyone's going to probably pack the house for, because who knows who's coming out of that one.
Look, if you don't think you're seated right, then it's your job to go and prove it. I mean that's what you have to do. So that'll do it for our soccer brackets, and we've now released the seedings for all the volleyball districts and all the soccer districts. Once again, as the tournaments get closer, we'll kind of dive deeper into it. Break down matchups next week when tournaments start. We just wanted to release all the seedings and release all the brackets as they came out today and last night. So that's how everything shakes up. We're going to take one little time out and be back to wrap this show up. It's Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure. Whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-res futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Jimmy Sutton here, director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with Ty Bartell, wrapping up this Monday edition of Running Point that went really fast, in my opinion. I mean, I'm looking up and saying, oh, man, it's already 2 o'clock. Before we get out of here, we want to give you a snapshot of what's going on in the area tonight. Volleyball winding down. We're seeing less and less games per night as teams are wrapping up their seasons and getting ready for tournaments. Our schedule has 4 games going on tonight. Salem will be at Hubbard. That's senior night for Hubbard. Austintown Fitch will be at Poland. Ty, you're going there, so that'll be a fun one as you get Fitch again. And Poland, the team, kind of struggling a little bit, but always puts up a big fight.
Yeah, that should be a good one tonight for the Falcons.
Brookfield at Valley Christian. I will be at Crestview as they host Heartland Christian. Excited to see the Rebels again as they kind of finish their season and get ready for tournament play as well. Soccer, we have Springfield hosting Brookfield. United will be at Valley Christian. Waterloo at Crestview. Jackson Milton at LeBray. Lakeview at Hubbard. Ursuline at Salem. Struthers versus Girard. The school will have that one. The school will also be taking care of Niles at Poland. All of those games are girls soccer games, except for Jackson Milton LeBray. That is a co-ed game. So those are some of the things that are going on tonight around the area and on the network. Once again, go to ysnlive.com/live to see all of our games that we will be covering each day. And one quick thing, Storm Tracker 21 update. Yeah, it looks like a kickoff for these soccer games, 73 and cloudy. The sunset will be at 6:47 tonight, according to the 21 Storm Tracker app. So once again, a good night to go out and watch soccer if that's what you feel like doing, or get out to a volleyball game. Love to see you out there. Tomorrow, we have an exciting show for you. We'll break down the new Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley and much more. 12 to 2, Casual Sports Podcast next, followed by the Power Hour at 3 to 4. We'll see you tomorrow. 22-hour break for us.